Hello and welcome to your second project. With this project, we're gonna be creating some sort of an animated picture that you could use in a video. Let's say you don't have a some footage and they will only give you still images. You can create this effect just to make it more interesting. So let me show you how it looks. This was a normal flat JPEG and now it's a little short video that has this kind of parallax effect. Okay, so it's like a really short one, which is only gonna be useful as a part of a larger video. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that, and you will have to download that image that will be on canvas and open it on Photoshop. Okay, I'm gonna hide that timeline that we used in our previous project so I have more space. And the first step here, it's gonna be removing the guy from that background. So as I know that you already know on how to use the pen tool, I will need you to go around his silhouette using that pen tool. And for that, I suggest that you zoom in, quite a bit. I'm here at 800%, and you can even go to 1200. Okay, so go ahead and pick the pen tool. And make sure, because I've seen some of you, struggle with that. And because when you're using the pen tool, you don't have here path, but shape. So if you have shape, it will block whatever you're trying to go around, and it's kind of hard. So make sure you have path. Okay, now you're gonna start, trying to stay as close as you can. And I'm scrolling with my mouse, but if you don't have that on your mouse, you can always use the space bar. That way I can drag my picture. And you really need to take the time to do that and don't get desperate. I don't know if you've seen, but this effect they use in Shark Tank when the show is starting out and they're presenting each one of the sharks, and they are showing these old images of them. This is the effect that they're using. Okay, since this is a kind of tedious process, once I reach the grass, I'm gonna speed up the video so you don't have to wait for it. Okay, I'm reaching the hand. This will work with any image that you have, even if the person is not fully in the picture. You can always do the cutout from the chest up, and that would be fine. But it's always a good idea to use a high-res image, because if you're gonna set this short like little video on a high definition video on YouTube and it's low res, then it's gonna bring the whole video kind of a bad look. And the more detailed, you go with the folding on his clothes, the more real you can look at the end. So try not to skip any part of it. Like now here that there's not a lot of folding, I can go with longer clicks. And I never seen somebody with so many folds in their jeans. Okay, I've reached the grass, and here you're not gonna be worrying about, if I should I pick the grass, should I avoid the grass, because this is gonna be out of the shot. So really, it's okay. However, we're not gonna be showing his fit, so don't worry about it. Okay, now that I've reached and explained that, I'm gonna speed up, and we'll see you when I finish this path. Okay, so I'm about to close my path, and here I go. Boom, I just closed it. Okay, so now I have all the shape of the silhouette of the guy selected. I'm gonna go to my paths panel, right click and choose make selection. This time, instead of having 0 as feather radius, I'm gonna choose 1, click OK. Now if I zoom out, I can see that the selection is active. So I'll go to my layers panel, click copy. I'm doing it by clicking Command C. And then I'm gonna create a new layer, and I'm gonna paste him there, Command V as in Victor. And then I can see that selection is no longer active. And here's a little trick, so just pay close attention. You will go ahead and hover above layer 1 while you click Command. You see how the cursor changes into a little square, selection square. So while you have that cursor, go ahead and click, and that will activate the selection again. So now I'm gonna hide layer number 1 by hiding the eye, and it looks like nothing changed because the guy is still on in the background layer. So now place yourself on the background layer by clicking only once, and go to edit, fill, and you're gonna choose content aware. Remember we did an exercise with this tool. So now you're only gonna choose content aware, have this color adaptation selected, and the mode, blending mode, is gonna be normal at 100%. Click OK. And now what happens is Photoshop again kind of read what was around the selection and just fill that. Okay, now I'm gonna deselect, and obviously I can still see that shadow, which you could leave there, but it might show up. So we just want to make sure that it's gonna be good quality. So with the clone tool, go ahead and select the clone tool. Make sure you have a brush that has soft edges. As you can see, I'm using a 45 pixels for size and a 38% of hardness. Now I'm gonna be taking some reference texture from places nearby, you know, so it looks like nothing is there. Now, obviously, in the water, it's going to be challenging to actually make the reflection of the mountain as it should be. But don't worry about, because that's not going to be showing up in the animation. Okay. Just try to stay close when selecting your reference points. Okay. Try not to use a brush that is either too small or too big. And there's a lot of gradients here, so each click you should move your reference point, because the colors are changing so fast in each space. Oops, I'm gonna go this side better. Kind of a tedious process, but it's worth at the end. Okay. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, obviously it doesn't look perfect, but it's not showing the shape of the guy. If I activate the layer 1, he's still there, and it's kind of covering the areas. Okay, so now that we have both on separate layers, we're gonna go ahead and create a new file. I'm gonna bring the whole screen. Okay, now here I'm gonna select the size of the video that I will be using this for. So you should already know if you have, you know, a longer video that you're gonna be using. In this case, I'm gonna use a high-res setting, which is a standard setting for the 1080. I'm gonna be choosing 72 pixels because it's not a print job, and RGB is fine and transparent is fine as well. Now the name for this, we're gonna be naming it Parallax. Okay, now go ahead and create, and you should have this horizontal artboard. Now if I go back to my other file, I'm gonna, you know, remove the lock on the background layer by double clicking. And I can choose both layers by clicking Shift, and then with the Move tool selected, I can drag them to my new file called Parallax. Okay, so now here it's a tricky part where go ahead and have your layers here, but before I'm making them bigger or smaller, you should right click in each one of them and convert them to into smart objects. Okay. The reason why, it's because if you have a smart object and you make it small, big, and then again small, it's not gonna be losing pixels, okay? So the quality is gonna be there anyway. Now I'm gonna zoom out and I'm gonna have both of my layers selected. I'm gonna click Command T just to see how much of the shot I have. So I'll go ahead because I do want, okay, the perception of, that it's a big, scene, scenic picture. And the trick here is not to have the feet of the guy in the shot. So if you see, I barely have from the knees up, which it will work fine. So I'm gonna head and just click Enter because I'm happy with that. And again, we're gonna go to Window, choose the timeline, and instead of creating a frame by frame animation, I'm gonna ask for a video timeline. Okay, so please go ahead and click on Create Video Timeline here. And you should have all of these 3 layers, which actually layer number 1 doesn't matter, but just leave it there. Okay, now we're gonna be creating keyframes in each one of the layers, so there's a lot of movement and change. Okay, now if you expand here in the drop-down menu of layer 3, you can see that you have the ability to either change during a specific amount of time the shape or size of objects, the opacity, or the style. In this case, we're going to be working with transform because it's about size. So I'm going to be clicking here to create my first keyframe. Now I'm going to drag all the way to the end of my timeline. And I'm gonna click Command T for the guy. Now the guy is gonna be going smaller and the background is gonna go big. So we want subtle changes. So I'm gonna make him a little smaller. Doesn't have to be much, because if you make it too obvious, then it's not like credible. Go ahead and click Enter, and you see that I have a little diamond here which is telling me, okay, there's another keyframe there because there was a change. So if you see, if I drag the handle and the time frame, you can see that change. Okay, now let's do the same for layer number 2. Okay, drop down menu on layer 2. Make sure the handle is all the way in the beginning, and you're gonna click again Transform, drag the handle all the way to the end, click Command T, and I'm gonna make the background bigger. Okay, not too much because again, okay, I'm just gonna see if it's subtle enough. Okay, I was gonna do the background bigger, but I think It works fine. Don't mind my dog again. Okay, now we're almost done. We just need to render this video. And to do that, I'm gonna go to File, Export, and here in the almost bottom, please choose Render Video. Okay, now it already has the name. It's gonna be an MP4, which plays good. Select the folder that you want this to be saved, and I'm gonna be choosing a folder called Parallax. Okay, I'm gonna choose that. Now for the encoding, I'm not expert with this, but if you choose the H264, you're gonna have the best quality for YouTube. And on the preset, normally it's not on the YouTube one, but it's a different one. But I've seen and I read that if you choose YouTube HD 1080, that will work just fine. Now, I read that there's two frame rates for YouTube. Some of them are even, or 29.97, but I've read that the most common one is 23.97. So I'm just gonna change that. And all of the other things, you can leave it like that. The size, it's obviously fine because we set that at the beginning. Okay, go ahead and choose render and wait a while. My computer probably is a little bit faster than the ones in the lab, so be patient. Okay, we're done. If I go and look for my video here, Parallax, double click, QuickTime is gonna open it, and if I play it, boom, I have that effect. So since this is a video, you can then again go ahead and use it in Adobe Premiere or iMovie or any video editor that you have. Okay, so this Parallax MP4, it's the one you're gonna submit in Canvas. Okay, so that would be all. And just one quick thing, please make sure to save this Photoshop file, because by any reason I will ask you to send me that. Just because I want to double check your layers, you need to have it. So in this case, you can save it. Parallax, well, it's gonna be last name, first initial, underscore, and then Parallax. So make sure you have that PSD with you, because I might send some random people a message to send me this over email, okay? So don't forget to save it and close, and you will be done.